Well, hello everyone. My name is Bhante Wade Bhuripañño here at Empty Cloud Monastery with a couple of lay meditators who have joined us for the live stream. I may mention that several people have been taking advantage of our lay residency program, where you can come in and stay at the monastery and live by the monastery schedule, but there is quite a bit of availability coming up as well in the near future. And so if you ever would like the opportunity to deepen your practice a bit and maybe have greater access to the teachers here as well, and experience what it's like to be in a monastery, it's really a wonderful chance to do that here. And you can access information for that at the Empty Cloud website, of course. And so Bhante Sudaso put this in as a guided meditation. So we'll be doing a guided meditation this evening. And last week, I believe it was Wednesday also, we did a guided meditation on the breath. That's right, it was last Wednesday night, so a week ago tonight. Did a guided meditation on the breath. Pretty straightforward, you might say, and simple breath meditation, where we pretty quickly went straight to paying attention to the breath at the chest. And we began counting the breath, and before starting, I demonstrated a technique of counting and also using the fingers and the hands to keep track of the counting. Some meditators find this helpful. I've done it many times myself. And then talked about how to deal with quote-unquote distractions, such as thoughts or sounds or sensations in the body, by knowing and letting them go. That is becoming aware of the fact that we're no longer paying attention to the breath, that the mind has wandered to something else, and then with our alertness and our mindfulness, paying attention to that other object, and saying something to ourselves to help us keep our mind with this other object, the thought or the sound or the feeling in the body, and that is saying to ourselves, thinking, in a similar fashion to how we would count the breath, just to help us keep track with our mindfulness of the object. So thinking, or feeling, or hearing, as the case may be, until the mind either loses interest in it or the object passes away. Then I discussed how to meditate with pain. It's a very valuable skill to have, as we all must encounter pain or other bodily discomfort at some point or other in our lives. And it can happen to us as we're meditating if we're trying to sit motionless for a long period of time, for example, or stand for a long period of time, motionless. But if we take this as an opportunity to meditate on pain, it can help us develop our mindfulness, as pain and other forms of bodily discomfort are relatively strong objects, and so they're easy to be mindful of, as long as the discomfort doesn't overpower our minds. And as I mentioned, we all must experience pain or discomfort at some point in our lives, and oftentimes we won't have the luxury of being able to move in order to alleviate the pain. Moving may not alleviate the pain at all. And so to be able to meditate with pain is very, very helpful. And then I discussed, as the meditation progressed, I talked about meditating with drowsiness or with restlessness. And for those of you who were with us last week, you may remember these techniques. So you may be able to apply them again, depending on the type of meditation we do. In fact, those kinds of techniques, I think, are pretty universal. even if you're practicing loving kindness meditation, you could use those techniques, for example, to kind of get back on track with the loving kindness meditation, or to develop your mindfulness in another way. And so we have Manal has typed in, sent an Anjali, and Mike as well, and Mary. It's been lovely seeing you at the monastery recently, all three of you. And thank you all for your service and your generosity, Anumotana. And it looks like we have some others watching as well. And so welcome everyone. I've done quite a bit of a preamble, recapping the guided meditation from last week. Perhaps I'll mention also that there are many other guided meditations now on the Empty Cloud and Buddhist Insights YouTube channel. And so anytime you want to do a guided meditation, you could search on guided meditation, Empty Cloud, and on YouTube, and find guided meditations there. And we've done quite a wide variety of meditations now at this point. I might also mention, before we get started, that guided meditations are kind of a hallmark of the teachings of some very highly esteemed meditation masters in Thailand. I ordained in Thailand myself back in 2014. And so as a student of the lineage, I noted that it was a relatively common technique for the masters to train their disciples with guided meditations, sitting with them for long periods of time, guiding them in meditation. And so it's a technique that can be very, very helpful, very beneficial to help us develop our meditation over time. And so anytime you'd like to have a guided meditation, you can find some there on the website, the YouTube channel, I should say, to practice with. All right. So to begin, we can adopt our meditation posture. You can sit on the floor, cross-legged perhaps, or on a meditation bench, or perhaps sit in a chair, or stand. Any of those meditation postures is suitable. And just want to try to be in an upright position. It helps us to be alert. If we're sitting on the floor, sitting cross-legged is quite traditional, and for those of you who are new to sitting on the floor, if we do have anyone who's new to sitting on the floor, the easiest way to do so is with one leg in front of the other. So I can demonstrate with my arms here. One leg in front of the other instead of crossing them, and this reduces discomfort, which can develop quite quickly if you have the legs touching, and if you aren't flexible enough yet to really twist your legs as you need to intertwine them. If we're sitting in a chair, maybe sit with the soles of the feet on the floor and try to sit upright. And if you're standing, maybe stand with your legs about shoulder width apart or slightly less than shoulder width apart. And then whether you're sitting or if you're standing, if you bring your hands, a very traditional way to do it is to bring your hands together in the middle. You can rest them on the lap if you're sitting, and then maybe one palm in the other, or one hand in the palm of the other, I should say, folded like this, or folded another way that's comfortable. And if standing, you can do this as well with the hands perhaps an inch or two below the navel. It helps to center the mind. This is very traditional, to center the mind, to center the posture, both together. But if it feels more comfortable, you can place the hands on your thighs or on your knees. This also works. And then it's quite traditional to close the eyes when practicing meditation in Theravadan Buddhism. So let them gently close. But for some people this can be uncomfortable, if they see a lot of images in their mind's eye distracting them. Or if you're drowsy, if you think you might be drowsy, then maybe opening would be better. So just gaze in an unfocused way at the floor, or at the wall or something like this. And now I would like you to imagine that you have a cord attached to the top of your head, and that it stretches up to the ceiling or up into the sky, gently drawing you into an upright position. And so you can feel your head lift just a little bit. And your neck straighten just a little. Very gently. And the upper back as well. And the middle back. And allow the lower back to curve in by rotating your pelvis forward. This is very natural for the lower back. And as you allow your pelvis to tilt forward a little, take a deep breath, a little bit deeper than usual. And we'll do a few of these, and I'd like you to tune into your abdomen. And as you breathe in, imagine the breath going down all the way to your abdomen, and allow the abdomen to relax as the breath goes into the abdomen and expand. We'll do a few of these as I'm explaining. For some, if this is the first time, it may take a little bit of effort and practice to get the hang of it, but take some breaths that are a little bit deeper than usual and allow the breath to go all the way down to the abdomen, and as the breath enters the abdomen, allow the abdomen to expand and relax, relaxing and expanding outward. And then as the breath goes out, again it goes up, contract the abdomen just a little bit. You don't have to make it tight. We want it to actually relax a little bit, little by little, over time as we're doing this breathing exercise. So take breaths that are a little bit deeper than usual, allowing the breath to go all the way down to the abdomen, or imagine it doing so. And then for the abdomen to relax and expand as the breath enters it. And then gently contract, and sending the breath up again very gently and out. And if you can, if this isn't too tricky for you, you can stay with that for another few moments, or you can also add in this other thing, which is as the breath comes in, think to yourself, in with the good. And then as it goes out, think out with the bad. In with the good, and out with the bad. In with the good, and out with the bad. All right. And then you can allow the breath to kind of settle into a natural rhythm. As you gently maintain your awareness through your sense of feeling in the abdomen. You may still feel it rising and falling, expanding and contracting with the breath. But now our interest is more in the abdomen itself. We just want to see how it feels, paying attention to it. If you're having difficulty tuning into it, you can place your hand there. Place your hand on your belly to kind of tune into it and make contact with it with your awareness. All right. And then we want to tune into the feelings inside the abdomen, if we haven't already, and see how the abdomen feels. And slowly allow it to relax. We'll dwell there for just a little while longer. Feeling how the abdomen feels. And allowing any tension there to just kind of unwind. Perhaps even paying attention to to the pit of the stomach. Dwelling there with it and allowing it to relax and unwind. All right. Now I would like us to gradually bring our awareness up to the face and to the head. And get in touch there as well. Experiencing how they feel. And allowing any tension there to relax as well. Now for some, if we're especially tense, or if we're in pain, this may be difficult to do. That is to be fully aware and present with the sensations. And so in this case, we can approach it with compassion and with a little bit of faith that if we can relax and be aware in the presence of something that we don't like, that it can make it easier to bear. That with patience and compassion for ourselves, and with awareness, tension can unwind and pain can ease. and we can experience relief. All right, we'll give this just another moment. Perhaps pay attention to the forehead or to the eyes or to the cheeks and the jaw. See if there's some tension there or some pain, and just allow it to relax as you gently feel it as it is. And then we'll glide down to the chest, to the neck and to the shoulders. Just glide down to the neck and to the shoulders and see how they feel. And allow them to relax. Just experience the neck and the shoulders, and the sensations there, and allow any tension to dissipate. And you can imagine the muscles there. In the neck and in the shoulders, and as you're aware, allow them to relax. And as they relax, you can allow the shoulders to droop a little. All right. Now we'll allow our awareness to drift down to the chest in this last stage of the body scan section of this meditation. And get in touch with how the chest feels. Just be aware of the sensations and allow the chest to relax as well. And you may feel the chest rising and falling with the breath. Tune in to the sensations in the chest. And then I would like to ask you to imagine your spiritual heart there in the chest where the breath passes through. There in the middle of the chest. And imagine it relaxing into that space. Allow it to come down from wherever it is. And relax down into that space. Collecting there. As you feel it with your sense of feeling, there in the middle of the chest. Where you feel the breath passing through as well. And allow your awareness to linger there with the heart and the breath together. As you feel them, and allow them to settle into a natural rhythm and calm state in a relaxed way there in the chest. And if you're feeling any emotions there, just feel them. Just feel them as though you're listening to a friend. You allow them to be who they are, and yourself to remain who you are. And you're simply there as a friend, while your friend works through their emotions. You being aware with your sense of feeling and allowing them to work out. Allowing the emotions to work out and settle down. Now you can stay with this way of being, or if it feels suitable, you can go with me on to the next step. Of focusing attention more closely on the breath. Feeling the breath rising and descending through the chest, right there where the heart is, or the chest itself rising and falling, whichever seems more natural or comfortable for you. And now, with some alertness, we want to pay attention to that breath, noticing the rising and the falling. And then we'll start counting in order to help us keep the mind with the breath, the awareness. And so, as we breathe in, we'll count 1. As we breathe out, we'll count 2. As we breathe in, we'll count 3. And so on up to 10. Okay, let's start. Okay. Now if you've reached 10, that's good. If not, that's also good. If the mind has wandered, we bring it back to the breath. And we begin again at 1 with an in-breath, 2 with an out-breath, 3 with an in-breath, and so on up to 10. Okay. And now we'll start again at 1. If we've been distracted, we just put down whatever it was that distracted us and we come back to the breath, starting again at 1. And count up to 10 again for a third set. Okay. Now if it helps you to stay with the breath, you might even take slightly deeper breaths. As now we're relaxed, and the key thing we're doing now is trying to increase our mindfulness, staying with the breath. We'll do a couple more sets of 10. Go ahead. All right. Now if you find that you're able to stay with the breath pretty well, maybe just missing a few in-breaths or out-breaths, you can try making your counting more steady and firm by counting throughout the in-breath 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Throughout the out-breath 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. In the in-breath 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. And so on up to 10. Keeping track of the full in-breath and out-breath. Or you can stick with the same method we were just using, perhaps trying to become more keen with that. And when you reach 10, start again at 1. All right. Now at this point in the meditation, I would like to signal for everyone who would like to change their posture a little bit. If it'll help you to sit comfortably for a little while longer of the meditation. So mindfully be aware of any interest in changing your posture and intention to move, if you can, before moving. And then, in order to not disturb your mindfulness, try to mindfully be aware of each movement and turn as you adjust your posture slowly and mindfully. And then, having established your posture again, return to counting the breath. We'll do perhaps 2 or 3 more rounds before moving on to the next stage of the meditation. All right. Now I would like us to transition to another style of meditation. And this is the recollection of good things that we have done. And so I would like to ask you to think of something good that you did today or yesterday, something just in the recent past, perhaps an act of generosity, giving someone something, or an act of service, perhaps doing a favor for someone or helping someone. Or some meditation. You could even just think of this meditation as something good that you've done. Or perhaps some chanting or something like that. Or undertaking precepts. In thinking of this, recognize it as such. This is something good that I did. All right. Then I would like you to think of another thing, another good thing that you have done. Perhaps within the last couple of days or going back just a little bit further. Perhaps listening to a Dhamma teaching that you found useful, or reading a Dhamma book that you found useful, or again chanting or doing something for someone. And once you've thought of it, notice that that is something good that I did. All right. Then I would like you to look back and find one more. Any kind of good thing that you did. Even if you have to go back further in time. And then notice that is something good that I did. And then maybe pick one of those things that you did and think back over time. First, I'll let you pick that one thing. Whether it was generosity or service or undertaking precepts or meditating. Pick one of those things and then think back to another time you did the same sort of thing. Find another time that you did the same sort of thing in the past. And then having thought of that one, recognize it as, that is something good that I did. And then we'll look back again for a third time, whether it was an act of generosity, or meditating, or whatever kind of good thing it may have been. Think of another instance of that. And then think, that is something good that I did. All right. Now we'll continue on with this theme, but with another twist. And that is, think of something good that you did for someone you admire. And that is something good that I did. And then think of something else you did for that person. Or if it's easier, think of something good you did for another person that you admire, or someone you love. And notice it as an act of goodness. And then we'll do one more. Thinking of something good that you did for someone you admire or love, perhaps the same person. And recognize it as something good that you did. And then we will transition to practicing some loving kindness for ourselves. Simply thinking of ourselves and thinking, may I be happy. And you may notice the feeling of your heart again, there in your chest, as you wish for yourself, may I be happy. And repeat to yourself, slowly, the sincere wish, may I be happy. If it feels comfortable, you can identify yourself with your heart itself, thinking, may I be happy. And then we'll think of someone whom we admire again. And think, may they be happy. May they be happy. With the sincere wish in the heart, may they be happy. And then we'll come back to ourselves. There are so many ways that we try to avoid suffering and to experience pleasure every moment throughout the day and throughout our lives. Deep down, we want to experience pleasure and be happy. And just as we want other beings to be happy, it's perfectly fitting to wish happiness for ourselves and for our hearts, our partner in life. Simply wish, may I be happy. Letting go of any tension in the heart, allowing it to unwind. Thinking, may I be happy. And then thinking, may I be free of suffering. We'll develop this wish for a few moments. Thinking of ourselves. Thinking, may I be free of suffering. In a patient and relaxed way. And allow any suffering to ease out of you. Letting it all go. And if it feels right, you can dwell here in this meditation of, may I be free of suffering. Wishing this for yourself and letting any suffering dissipate, ease out, and let it go. Or you can move on to the next stage. Thinking, may I be happy again. May I be happy. May I be happy. You can imagine yourself there in your heart. Imagine yourself smiling. And think, may I be happy. And allow this emotion, if it will, to permeate your heart or even your whole body. This feeling of caring and happiness. And see if you can keep your mindfulness with this wish. May I be happy. See if you can keep your mind with this wish, letting go of everything else, developing this feeling of caring for oneself, thinking, may I be happy. Coming closer and closer to the feeling in the heart, quite gently. All right. Now you can return to the breath if you like. We'll be drawing the meditation to a close in a moment. If staying with the loving kindness for another moment feels good, you can do that. Then in a moment I will ring the bell in order to draw the meditation to a close. And if it feels good to you, you can listen to the bell mindfully. Notice as it begins and then it changes, rising and falling over time, and then passes away. And then we can raise our hands very slowly and mindfully, touching them palm to palm in front of our hearts, with gratitude and respect for the meditation, noticing the feeling of our palms touching, and noticing the emotions in the heart. And then 3 times we'll say sadhu, 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 sadhu. And then we can slowly lower our hands again, bringing them to rest, and then slowly open our eyes. Very slowly open our eyes and be aware of what we see with mindfulness. And notice how we feel now. Do we feel more centered, more aware in the present? Clearer inside, perhaps in a lighter mood as well. There is a little bit of time left before we come up to the 1.5 hour mark, 9 o'clock here at Empty Cloud. And I could say a few words about the meditation, and also take perhaps 1 or 2 or 3 questions from the meditators here or from those watching remotely. One thing you definitely noticed about the meditation is that we progress through several stages in one meditation period, meditating for 1 hour and 5 minutes or 1 hour and 10 minutes. So by some standards, a very substantial amount of time. We progress through a stage of getting in touch with the body first and kind of grounding and relaxing the body and developing our awareness that way, coming into the present moment, being aware, and then imagining the heart coming to rest in the chest and it relaxing there is a further stage of calming and relaxation. Noticing any emotions there. Then the breath, developing our awareness of the breath by counting, to develop our faculty of mindfulness further, and then recollection of good things we've done, then loving kindness meditation, then with the wish, may I be free of suffering. It's a meditation of compassion. Before returning to loving kindness for some of us, and then going out of meditation via the breath, so on. One of the ideas of doing this, so many different stages, is the gradually easing into the meditation by grounding and calming, kind of bringing the mind back home within the body. It may have gotten scattered. For most people, it gets quite scattered throughout the day. And then developing our mindfulness some more by focusing on the breath. And this is quite naturally a calming technique, and it's said to be a technique that is suitable for all personality types. So it's especially suitable for a meditation object for a broad variety of viewers like this. And it's also specifically good for easing out of discursive thought. That is the thinking mind that's always talking and chattering. Now, in practicing breath meditation and in other calming forms of meditation, we may find that we reach a point where the mind becomes calm, and then it can kind of either slip into drowsiness, or it may become restless. Many of us are used to quite a lot of stimulation, so the mind may become restless and want other things. And so at this point, there are a variety of things we can do. We can do a wisdom contemplation, for example, or we can redouble efforts with our mindfulness, perhaps taking specific tactics to go against drowsiness or against restlessness, as we did in the guided meditation last week. Or we can change meditation techniques. And so that's the tack we took today, with switching to recollection of good things that we've done, and then moving on to other meditation techniques. And this, if we're practicing on our own and we're making our own decisions about how to practice, we can use these techniques to uplift the mind, to add happiness to the mind and inspiration. The recollection of good things that we've done is one of the inspiring themes, according to the Theravadan tradition. And the way I've described it, it kind of blends together multiple aspects of this kind of meditation. And then moving on to loving kindness is another kind of meditation that can gladden the mind. And then switched on to compassion as a way of letting go of any kinds of suffering that might still be in the heart. These are meditation techniques, of course, that can be practiced on their own. One can practice the recollection of good things we've done as a beginning point for meditation, or even just as a meditation technique on its own for an entire period of meditation, thinking of one after the other, using the faculty of mindfulness to keep ourselves on this theme in one way or another. And loving kindness, of course, or compassion meditation can be practiced on its own as well. So this is some of the theory behind this practice of going through many different kinds of stages, though, that you might use in your own meditation. All right. It looks like we have something written in. Kim has written in. We've a couple of others written in as well. Mike and Kristen, thanking for the instructions. And Kim has said, that was lovely. The guidance really keeps me on track. However, I still struggle with the breath. I want to control it. Okay, yes. It's interesting, Kim, because there actually are some breath meditators who make that part of the technique, that is controlling the breath. And so You can either practice with letting go of that intention, that desire, that urge to control it. So in the present moment while you're meditating, if you notice this intention and urge coming up, you can kind of be aware of that. Notice it like we're aware of the body or aware of the breath in meditation. Notice that urge. And just be with it and notice it and allow it to dissipate. You might even use a technique like feeling that urge or that desire. Notice feeling, like you would a sensation in the body or any other emotion in the heart. And stay with it, just as another object of awareness you can develop your mindfulness with. And then if you notice that it goes away, then you can come back to the breath. You can practice this way, going back to it, back and forth, as these kinds of urges and desires arise. This could be quite remarkable breakthrough if you can be mindful with it and find that and see what it's like to work with it. And then you'll find over time, if you're able to do this, then you can do this with any kind of urge or desire that arises. But it's always easier when the mind is calm. So it may be harder to do in your daily activities, but if you practice with it in your formal meditation, then you may gradually find it easier to do so in your day-to-day activities as well. And sometimes, even if you can't really stay with it, say if you're in your daily activities and doing a variety of things, if you can at least notice, well, there's this urge there, just as you might with other emotions. And at least if you have this awareness of the urge, if there is this urge there, like you might if you may notice that you're in a bad mood sometimes, just being aware, wait a minute, I'm in a bad mood, and you can bear that in mind. As you're doing things, as you're interacting with people, so you're onto yourself, and you're going to beware of what you might say or do. And with urges and desires, you can do the same thing. So you're kind of onto yourself a little bit. What are my tendencies? And what are my ulterior motives in life, if you have any, which is actually so common for the heart. And another way to go is if you wanted to, you could explore, for example, the teachings of Thanissaro Bhikkhu, Ajahn Thanissaro. And he teaches a style of breath meditation where you actually control it and manipulate it within the body. And his name is spelled Thanissaro. Thanissaro. He's a very senior Western meditation monk based in California, Metta Monastery, Metta Monastery. Published a variety of books and a number of talks and guided meditations online and so on like this, if you want to try that out. But it's not something I'm very familiar with, and so I can't really give instruction myself on it or guidance. All right, I wonder if we have any questions from our meditators here. I'll give them an opportunity as well, but they're looking so calm. I'm not even sure if they can hear me. They may be so absorbed in their meditation, which is wonderful. So we'll let them be like that and draw this live stream to a close. Come up to an hour and a half mark as it is. And so maybe we'll anumotana everyone, saying sadhu again 3 times. Let's rejoice in everyone's meditation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And may you all be well, and may you all continue to prosper in the Dhamma. Until next time, that is both tomorrow and Friday, we have more live streams you'll find on the YouTube channel, scheduled there. And then on Saturday evening, 6 to 7:30, we have a Dhamma program here at Empty Cloud in person, as well as Sunday from 1 to 4. And of course, Sundays are kind of an all-day event with lots of things going on all throughout the day. You check out the website for the schedule. And may you all be well. Until next time, bye-bye.